All right, welcome back. This week you have two topics on financial economics. The first is payday loans, and the second is currency exchange. So, first, for your assignment, you have the video to watch from the Khan Academy, and then you have a link to a website that will show you the percentages that are allowed to be charged for payday loans by state. So, if we look at that, we can see that all across the country, loans can go up to 700%. And in Georgia, payday loans are illegal. You're not allowed to take payday loans here for a good reason. And you're going to see why here in just a moment. So if you scroll down and click on interest rate, you can see there are a lot of states where this kind of thing's not allowed, fortunately. And there are a number of states that do allow it and allow charging, hundreds and hundreds of percent interest a year. That means if you borrowed $10 and it was 667 or 677% interest, you would owe almost $70. If you borrowed 10, you would owe almost 70 by the end of the year. And from there, it would go up another 7 times. So in 2 years, you could go from 10 to 500. Almost. So that's the danger in payday loans. We're going to take a look at that. In order for you to do that, you'll watch that video, look through this article a little bit, and then you're going to find some other articles. One of them is going to give you an example of an interest rate that's charged by a payday lender in particular. Find a different article than the ones I already gave you there. The second part is try to explain why somebody would take a payday loan, then look at what types of tactics the lender might have to prevent people from paying back the amount in full. So all that is some research for you. Then part 4 is find an example of a payday lender somewhere in the United States. You might not be able to find one in Georgia at all, but you could look, nearby or a place where you'd like to live one day. And give them a call on the phone. Don't explain to them that you're a student and this is a question for a class. Just ask them what the deal is for you to borrow money, or for the public to borrow money, and write down what they say in your report. You should not take them up on this offer. It's probably not going to be very good. And then thank them and hang up the phone. Okay, so that's part 4. 2 parts left here. We have an Excel document, which is attached right down here. Okay, so you'll click on that, open it up, and it has 3 separate spreadsheets in it for you to look at. The first 2 are related to simple and compound interest, so you can play around and look at those and write down what you notice is the difference. And then on the third one, you'll have for the remainder of part 5 here. So this is what your spreadsheet will look like. Down at the bottom, there are 3 tabs. One says simple interest savings, one says compound interest savings, and one says compound interest loans. The first part is to look at simple interest savings versus compound interest savings. And you'll notice that if you put in $10 at age 20 on simple interest, you would end up with about $45 at age 90. Okay? So that's, you make 50 cents a year, or 5 cents interest, or 50 cent interest on 5% every single year. So you put in $10, get 5%, that's 50 cents, that's added to your balance. You start the next year with $10.50, and you're making 5% on the starting balance of $10, not on this year's balance, or the current year. Right, that's simple interest. Compound interest is quite a bit different and much more favorable to you as a saver, as an investor. Far better for you. If you put in in an account that paid 5% interest, if you put in $10, the first year is the same as simple. You get that 50 cents interest, you end up with $10.50. The second year is different. On your $10.50, you're getting 5% of $10.50 instead of $10, which is about 52.5 cents or 53 cents. That's added to your balance. So already you're ahead of that 50 cents even in the second year. Normally in simple interest you would have had $11, but now you're ahead a little bit. that little bit starts to add up quite a bit more. As instead of getting 50 cents a year, now you're getting almost $1 after 15, 16 years. You're earning twice as much interest. And as it goes, that $10 that you put in at age 20 ends up with $319 at age 90, $304 at age 90, instead of the $45 that you would have had under simple interest. All right? And if you're the type of person that likes charts, you can see this difference in the chart as it has this hockey stick growth, and the patterns are going up with time, as opposed to the simple interest lines that are straight and simple across time that don't end up anywhere near $300, $400 for your account. So compound interest is clearly better as a saver. Now as a borrower, we're in a different situation. So what you're going to do here is there are two boxes. There's one on F1 and there's one on G5. Both of them are outlined. What you need to do is, from part 1 of this assignment, is to identify the interest rate that the payday lender was charging. And if you watch that con video carefully, you'll notice that it might be that they're giving the rate for 2 weeks instead of for the year. Okay? So if we look at, for example, the interest rate that is charged in, let's try to find Alabama here. Looks like Alabama's not on here. What about South Carolina or North Carolina? All right, North Carolina doesn't allow it. South Carolina allows 391%. Okay, so if we take 391%, we need to type that in up here, 391. That populates our chart, and I can zoom in so you can see it in the video here. I typed in 391 into F1, and then I wanted an amount that I think somebody might borrow. If I put that they're going to take $500, we can see that in the first year they get the $500. The interest rate is 391%. That looks like interest of what the people will owe in 1 year's time of $1,955, meaning that by the end of the year they owe almost $2,500 total, just from borrowing $500. So they borrowed $500 and they owe 5 times that much. And the second year they start that balance off, again owe 391% interest compounding on that, and that looks like almost $10,000 of interest tacked on. So at the end of the second year they owe $12,000 on a $500 loan. You're probably going to get some of these hashtags in here. That's not like Instagram. Okay, that just means that there isn't enough space because the loan is so large. So to get rid of those hashtags, click up between the A and the 1 up in this top corner, and then double click your cursor between any 2 columns with everything highlighted between any 2 columns. That'll space it out for you. All right, so you can see as time goes here that this payday loan situation is really bad. Very quickly you can get into the billions, trillions, gazillions of dollars of what you might owe. Okay, so your task is to look down based on the age that you are now. So if you're closer to 20, you would start at $500 at 20. If you're closer to 30, you look at what $500 borrowed at 30 looks like over the course of your life. And we're looking down to age 90, which is right down here. Okay, so at age 90 you would owe this much money on a $500 loan in this example. So you're going to have your own interest rate that you come up with, and you're going to have your own loan amount that you come up with, and you're going to type in the loan amount here. That's going to set you up on here. So any loan amount you type in, if I type 560, it's just going to pop up right down here. If I type in 5% there, it's going to put 5% interest rate. All right, so whatever you find, you plug in those values on your Excel sheet, and that's what you're using to answer the questions on your Connect assignment here. All right, so that's getting you to this part for what you owe at the end there. And then finally part 6 is the for you to look up what other types of lenders are there that are different than payday lenders. Okay, so that's not traditional banks, but businesses which might make predatory loans of different sorts, and that's your opportunity to find some of those. Okay, so that's your assignment for the week. That's going to be having you do some research, find some answers, and then plug your values into that Excel table. Okay, the second part is the forum, and this is on currency exchange. You will use all different types of currency if you're traveling around the world. So, for example, I have some coins here from all over the world. I have some money from England with the Queen on it. I have some money from Prague, from the Czech Republic, with a really cool lion on it, if you can see that. Alright, so you see money from all over the world. What we're going to have you do is I'm going to give you 1,000 imaginary US dollars. You're going to convert that into a foreign currency. Imagine that you're traveling there and you need the foreign currency when you get there. And then when you're coming back, let's say you didn't use any of that money, you're going to switch it back into US dollars. It's possible, quite possible, that that value is going to change from the time that you're going to the country to when you're coming back. And we're going to see what the change in the value is of that money. For you to do this assignment, you'll need to go to this website, themoneyconverter.com. Once you're here, you can pick your favorite currency. So we're going from US dollars, right here, and it tells you a little bit about the US dollar, to euros. That would be if you're traveling around Europe. If you want to go to any of these other countries, it's fine. Go anywhere you want. Let's say we want to go to Korea. I lived in Korea for a couple of years and I had to deal with Korean won all the time. Okay, so I would move money from the US to Korea to use my money there, and then when I made money in Korea, I would bring the money back to US dollars. Right now, if we took 1,000 US dollars, that would give us 1.165 million Korean won. Alright, so I would take my $1,000, put it into Korean won, and then I would take this tool that allows me to snip that little screen all the way from the conversion rate right here from dollars to won. And then it gives me the timestamp down here. It tells me exactly when I did this. I would take that, or you can do that from a print screen, or on Mac, you just print screen on that. Take that and put that into your document like that. Okay, so then, remember we got 1165720 Korean won. Okay. Then, 24 hours later, at least, so not like I'm doing right now, which is immediate. 24 hours later, we come back in here, we invert these currencies. Sorry, so I need to remember this number right here, 1165720. I put that, well, I can type it in, I guess. 1165720, and then we need to invert it. So again, that looks like it goes right back to $1,000. But 24 hours later, as these rates are pinging, bing, 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 all the way up and down all the time, it could quite easily change. And it probably will. So I would take my snipping tool again and select that little bit right there down to the timestamp, put that into my report, and then I have the trick where I went from $1,000 to Korean won, followed by going from Korean won to US dollars. Now, whichever person in the class makes the most money, you're not going to end up probably with $1,000 again. Whoever makes the most money will get a bonus point. So you can try all different kinds of currencies and see which one has the most advantage to you. You just have to wait at least 24 hours to switch it back and forth. Okay, so that's what we just looked at here. pick a currency that does not directly tie to the US dollar. It needs to float. The chart needs to move up and down and down and down. It can't just be always the same flat across time. Some currencies are that way. Some countries use the US dollar. Don't pick one of those countries. Pick a country that has a floating, changing exchange rate with time. Put $1,000 in, do the process we just had. 24 hours later, get the snipping tool, capture that image. All right, then answer these questions. What was your result? Basically, how much money did you make? Did you make money? Did you lose money? How much was it? What would be the equivalent gain if you had $1 million instead of 1,000? And again, 1,000,000 is 3 more zeros than 1,000, so you just would add 3 zeros to it, to whatever you made or lost. Finally, what effect do you think foreign currency exchange markets have on businesses operating internationally? Or tourists, if you're traveling in and out of countries or doing business in and out of countries, what's going to be the result to that business? How are they impacted? What are they affected by? Okay, so again, 2 assignments. Hopefully neither of them is too hard for you on this online class, and put all your answers in by Sunday at 11 p.m. and let me know if you need any help. Thank you.